Ninnies, British history and the Welsh annals. It goes through contents. Ninnies. From the beginning of the world to the flood are 2,242 years. From the flood to Abraham, 942 years. From Abraham to Moses, 640 years. From Moses to David are 500 years. And I don't know how much Usher corresponds to this, but this is Ninnies reckoning. From David to Nebuchadnezzar are 569 years. From Adam to Babylon migration. It says 4,000. What is that? Is that a typo? 4,879 years. From the Babylonian migration to Christ, 566 years. From Adam, therefore, to the Passion of Christ, 5,228 years. And it goes on to say the Passion of Christ, 796 years have passed from the Incarnation, 831 years. The first stage of the world is therefore from Adam to Noah. The first stage of the world is therefore from Adam to Noah. The second age is from Noah to Abraham. The third age from Abraham to David. The fourth age is from David to Daniel. The fifth age from Daniel to John the Baptist. The sixth age from John to the judgment within our Lord Jesus Christ will come to judge. British and Irish origins. The island of Britain is so called from one Brutus, a Roman council. It reaches from the southwest northward and lies to the west. Reading from Ninnies. It is 800 miles long, 200 broad. In it are 28 cities and headlands without number, together with innumerable forts built of stone and brick. And in it live 4 nations. The Irish, the Picts, the Saxons, and the British. It has 3 large islands, one of whom lies towards Amorca. is called the Isle of Wight. The second is situated in the middle of the sea between Ireland and Britain, and is named Eubonia, that is, man. The other is situated at the extreme edge of the world of Britain, beyond the Picts, and is called Orkney. So the old saying runs, when rulers and kings are mentioned, he ruled Britain with its 3 islands. In Britain there are many rivers that flow in all directions, in the east, west, south, and north. But 2 of the rivers excel beyond the rest, the Thames and Severn. Like the 2 arms of Britain, on which ships once travailed, carrying goods for the sake of commerce, the British once occupied and ruled it all, from sea to sea. If anyone wants to know when this island was inhabited after the flood, I find 2 alternate explanations. The version in the annals of the Romans is that after the Trojan War, Aeneas came to Italy with his son Ascanius, defeated Turnus, and married Lavinia, daughter of Latinus, son of Faunus, son of Picus, son of Saturn. And after Latinus' death, he acquired the kingdom of the Romans and the Latins. Aeneas founded Alba and then married a wife who bore him a son named Silvius. Silvius married a wife who became pregnant. And when Aeneas was told that his daughter-in-law was pregnant, he sent word to his son, Ascanius, to send a wizard to examine the wife, to discover what she had in the womb, whether it was male or female. The wizard examined the wife and returned, but he was killed by Ascanius because of his prophecy. For he told him that the woman had a male in her womb, whom would be the child of death, for he would kill his father and his mother, and be hateful to all men. So it happened, for his mother died in his birth, and the boy was reared and named Brito. Much later, according to the wizard's prophecy, when he was playing with others, he killed his father with an arrow shot. not on purpose, but by accident. He was driven from Italy and came to the islands of the Tyrrhenian Sea, and was driven from Greece because of the killing of Turnus, whom Aeneas had killed, and arrived in Gaul, where he founded the city of Tours, which is called Turnus. And later he came to this island, which is named Britannia, from his name, and filled it with his race, and dwelt there. From that day, Britain had been inhabited until this present day. This is the genealogy of that Brutus the Hateful, who has never been traced to us. When the Irish, who do not know their origin, wish to be under him, this is how our noble elder Cunha gathered the genealogy of the British from the chronicles of the Romans. So I found it as I have written it on this page, for you, Samuel, the child of our master, the priest Bilin. But this genealogy is not written in any book of Britain, but was in the writing of the writer's mind. Brutus was the son of Silvius, son of Ascanius, son of Aeneas, son of Anchises, son of Capon, son of Assaracus, son of Tros, son of Erectonius, son of Dardanus, son of Jupiter, and the race of Ham, the accursed son who saw his father Noah and mocked him. Tros had two sons, Ilius and Assaracus. Ilius first founded the city of Ilm, that is Troy, and then begot Lamdan, who was the father of Priam. But Assaracus begot Capon, who was the father of Anchises. Anchises begat Aeneas, who was the father of Ascanius. Aeneas reigned 3 years among the Latins. Ascanius reigned 37 years. So we have a chronicle. When Brito reigned in Britain, Eli the high priest ruled in Israel. And then the Ark of the Covenant was taken by foreigners. Posthumus, his brother, ruled among the Latins. If anyone wants to know when Ireland was inhabited and when it was deserted, this is what the Irish scholars have told me. When the children of Israel crossed through the Red Sea, the Egyptians came and pursued them and were drowned, as may be read in the law. Among the Egyptians was a nobleman of Scythia, with a great following, who had been expelled from his kingdom, and was there when the Egyptians were drowned, but did not join in the pursuit of the children of God. The survivors took counsel to expel him, lest he should attack their kingdom and occupy it, for their strength had been drowned in the Red Sea. For his wife was Skada, the daughter of Pharaoh, from whom Scotia, Ireland, is said to be named. He was expelled and wandered for 42 years through Africa. And they came to the altars of the Philistines by the Salt Lake and through Ruskid and the mountains of Raxia, and by the river Muluya, and crossed through Morocco to the Pillars of Hercules, and sailed over the Tyrrhene Sea, and came to Spain, and there lived for many years, and grew and multiplied exceedingly, and their people multiplied exceedingly. After they had come to Spain, and 1,002 years after the Egyptians had been drowned in the Red Sea, they came to the country of Dariada at the time when Brutus was ruling among the Romans, with whom the councils began, and then the tribunes of the plebs and the dictators. The councils, however, held the state for 447 years, which had previously suffered the rule of kings. The British came to Britain in the Third Age of the world, but the Irish secured Ireland in the Fourth Age. But the Irish, who were in the West, Picts from the North, fought together in a united assault on the British unremittingly. For the British were unused to weapons, and after a long interval the Romans secured the monarchy of the whole world. I found another explanation about Brutus in the old books of our elders. The three sons of Noah divided the world into three parts. After the flood, Shem extended the boundaries in Asia, Ham in Africa, Japheth in Europe. The first man who came to Europe was Atlantis, of the race of Japheth, with his three sons, whose names are Hesetio, Armenon, and Ne. Hesetio had four sons, Francis, Romanus, Brito, and Albanius. So there's your Brito coming from Japheth instead of Ham, according to their hubs. And it goes on to say, from the beginning of the world to the consulship of Constantinus and Rufus. Constantinus would be, I guess, Constantine's son would be 457. From the beginning of the world to 457 are 5,658 years. So it was just a little Nennius. This is all stemming from the just how they reckon time. I mean, they're confident enough to write stuff down. So we'll put that down, Nennius, and pick up. So in these, what scholarship says are old books, Job, canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades? loose the bands of Orion? Can thou bring forth the Mazzaroth? Or canst thou guide Arcturus? And in these cases, when the words such as Mazzaroth, amongst the various Pleiades and Arcturus and other stars, has names, we have the term Mazzaroth, Job 38:32, and Mazzaroth in 2 Kings 23:5. The former in both versions is referred to the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Later they've added the word planets, but in margin even it says the 12 signs of the constellations. This is old, so this is just an amendment to the Zodiac. And it's interesting that of the signs, this is interesting that the only sign that isn't like a person or a thing, an animal, is Libra. And now there are all sorts of other stars, naming of all sorts of stars. Find that. Mazzaroth. Ptolemy, 150 AD, transmits these constellations, signs, them from Hipparchus, 130 BC, as of unquestioned authority, unknown origin, and unsearchable antiquity. Sir William Drummond says that the traditions of the Chaldean astronomy seem the fragments of a mighty system fallen into ruins. The word zodiac itself is from the Greek zodiakos, which is not from zo, to live, but from a primitive root through the Hebrew sodi, which in Sanskrit means a way. Its etymology has no connection with living creatures, but denotes a way, or step, and is used of a way or path in which the sun appears to move amongst the stars in the course of a year. The popular beginning today is with Aries, the ram. Is not this what is spoken as of the unknown and insoluble mystery, the riddle of the Sphinx? The word Sphinx is from to bind closely together. It is therefore a sign to show where the two ends of the zodiac were to be joined together, and where the great circle of the heavens began and ends. The Sphinx is a figure with the head of a woman and the body of a lion. What is this but a never-ceasing monitor telling us to begin with Virgo and to end with Leo? In the Zodiac, in the temple of Esna in Egypt, a sphinx is actually placed between the signs of Virgo and to end with Leo. In the Zodiac in the temple of Esna in Egypt, a sphinx is actually placed between the signs of Virgo and Leo. And there's an illustration on the next page from the portico in the temple of Esna showing the sphinx between the two. Let's see the picture. Oh, and there's more. And then I'll conclude this. The Sphinx is this right here with a ball in its head. And that would be separating Virgo. Showing the Sphinx between uniting the beginning of the Zodiac, Portico and Esna. Now the Dendura I don't think has that. But there are other constellation maps. We'll see one, and then we'll move on. And as I was saying, of the constellations, Libra is the only constellation that is not a person or an animal. And there is, however, some reason to suppose that Libra is a very ancient Egyptian corruption. In a more ancient Akkadian, the months were called after the names of the signs. And the sign of the seventh month is the sign that we now call Libra. The Akkadian name for it was Tuku. Tul means mound, like a mound, like a dome, like an altar, like a circle. And there's a note down here that says certainly the symbol by which it is still known is more like the top of an altar, circle, lamp. We'll show you in another one over here. Akkadian, other constellation maps, being a circle, more like just a plate. It says the circular altar and the sign now called Libra. And that's what's interesting in history. We go back, and not only is time and calendars, but but when we look at it, even the way they calculated time and calendars was different, because they did use the movements of the motions of heavenly bodies, and the moon and the time and the sun, and how this is a very, very, very interesting, how things get changed. Whether things are, it doesn't necessarily have to be conspiracy all the time, but for it, you know, it's like, listen, I didn't used to have to wear a seatbelt or have car insurance, or, you know, things change. So, and how things change is interesting. In the most ancient form was a circular altar. That's figure 1. We have reproduced this. And it will be seen once. That we have the original of the disc now preserved, and the 2 circular scales, which form the sign of Libra. Libra being the scales, which was more originally a circle. And how the other circle got involved to the 2 scales is interesting, because Scorpio, this is where we're going with this. Because Scorpio, with its tail and its 2 claws hanging out, almost makes, we're just going to look at this right here. I'm just going to keep it right here while I read. This right here is taken from other places, but Euphratean boundary stones. And see, at the time, stones and money and things were dated. We're going to get onto that. We're going to look at that in just a minute, where even stamps or like stamps could be dated using celestial time. That was a time and date. They actually put constellations on their stamps to memorialize a treaty or a things. They would put, they had claws and they would have things. We're going to see that, but this is a Euphratean astronomical names. Some corruptions is shown Akkadian name of Scorpio, the scorpion, the sign immediately to the left of Libra, the circle, the scales, the altar. It was called Gertab, which means Caesar and stinger. And what's neat is this right here, if we know enough about some of the history and the scholarship, there's been some talk about, in certain ones, they only had 11 constellations, where they would merge some. But this is where some of the problem starts. But it compounds later. Let me stop a minute and go back and show you this. The constellation of the Canis Venatici, the greyhounds, i.e. the two dogs, Asteron and Shara, which Bootes holds by a leash, is quite a modern invention, being added by Hevelius, 1611, 1687. The bright star of the third magnitude and the pack of Shara was named Korikare. And it goes on to just name lots of stuff. And see, these are examples of the almost infinite distance between the ancient Zodiac and modern names. The former are full of mysterious significance and grandeur, while the later are puerile in the extreme, almost approaching to the comic. You got examples here of things that have been named: air pump, the painter's easel, the telescope, the triangle, the fly, the microscope, the Indian, the goose, the balloon, the toucan, the American goose, compasses, Charles Oak, the cat, the clock, the unicorn, etc. And this is called these and others and others.